So we were going to come up here to the Uintas a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I had had a really long week at work and I was just exhausted. And when it came time to drive up here to be part of nature and backpack in and have all these amazing experiences with my two teenage sons, I kind of hit a wall. And I told the kids, I said, I can't do it, guys. It's too much. And so I asked them if we could go camp nearby instead of driving 2 hours away to the Uinta Mountains. They were both good sports about it, but I think they were disappointed. And we ended up camping near our home in Ogden, up in the mountains still, but not in our chosen place that we were originally going to head to. So as we were up there and spent some quality time together as father and sons, we had some good experiences. We had some raccoons invade our camp. I'll tell that story later in the video. We learned some lessons. We still had an enjoyable time, but not as much as we would have if we'd been able to come up here into the Uintas. I've been coming up here since I was a child because my grandfather's cabin was one of the first ones ever up here, and it still stands even though it's not in my family anymore. So we finally made it up here. It's important that I spend this quality time with my sons, that we build and foster a positive relationship that will last a lifetime, hopefully. It's also important that they learn these skills and build confidence in the outdoors. And one day, when I'm too old to do these kinds of things, or maybe even when I'm dead, they will carry on the tradition that I was handed from my predecessors. My parents weren't big camping people, but my mom did take me to the family cabin a lot. And before her, my grandfather was an outdoorsman. My great-grandfather was a pioneer who built a cabin on a river and helped establish an entire town here in Utah. So I'm trying to carry on those traditions and help my sons to know that there's always somewhere to go, away from the rat race, away from the craziness of the world, where our lives can be blessed and happy and peaceful, where we forget all about the troubles that we have back there in the city. And by the way, I have a new channel that's a mental health channel. It's linked down below. It's called Broken Man Healing. Also, check out my Instagram page. I always post photos of this amazing area or anywhere else I may go, from the desert to the mountains near my home to the amazing Uinta Mountains. Feel free to follow me on there. I probably already put it on the screen. And guys, let's go have an adventure. Well, welcome back everybody. Utah Steve is finally in the Uintas with my two boys. Scraps is with us. He's been just kind of exploring and eating salad. And the problem with that is when he eats too much salad, that happens. Gross. He didn't even chew it. Here's our fire pit. That'll be nice tonight. There's plenty of firewood over there in the form of a tree that the Forest Service has cut up. We're going to be very careful. It's pretty green through here, and I think if we're careful, we won't burn the forest down. There's no fire ban or anything like that. This is Dylan's headquarters. This is a Outdoor Vitals tent. I used this the entire summer of 2021, I believe. It's huge inside. It's a good tent. I don't really like how one end is smaller than the other. It's kind of a pain to set up that way. You get it mixed up easily. Dylan has, anyone who sets it up. It's easy to mix up not just the tent body, as it doesn't, you have to put it just right on the footprint, and then you have to put the fly in just the right position over the body of the tent. And it's very easy to put it on backwards and realize it and have to start all over. Of course, I'm using my Sierra Designs clip flashlight too. I should zip this up so I don't get bugs in there. I've just got an overquilt, a pillow, and a sleeping pad this time. Temps are going to be in the upper 80s up here and in the 50s at night, so that's probably all I need. And then over here, Julian is trying something unique. If you watched any of my older videos from like 4 years ago, this is a Kelty one-man backpacking tent. And I used this in the Kuberant Basin. Jude's going to give it a whirl. He was going to use my Eureka Spitfire, but the bungee cords in the poles are all stretched out. The tent's pretty much had it, so he's using the Kelty. Dylan's just chilling over here having a snack. I'm about to have one too. We have a table, we have chairs. We definitely loaded our packs with some luxury items. We're not pounding miles, so we wanted to be comfortable. Over here on the table we have bug spray, bug zapper, dog leash, camp towel, my glasses case, trail camera, GoPro, my headlamp. That's bear spray. Hopefully we never need it. Sunscreen. And this table I got for Christmas from my son Murphy. And this is the first time ever using it. It's super light. It's just bulky in my pack, but it doesn't weigh much. These bags, that's all our food. We have plenty because we are up here for 3 days and 2 nights. Not at just this campsite though. I'll be filming a couple of videos up here. And I got my Chill Gorilla tarp over everything to give us some shade. And that's camp. Jude, you always look so awkward when I point the camera at you. You're like, how do I stand? These are our surroundings. Beautiful. What time is it, guys? It's 5 p.m. So we'll be having dinner probably around 7, I think. We don't want to have it too early. That's where things are at. As far as snacks goes, we have these beef sticks. That's kind of for everybody. And then each of us has one of these snack bags with pretty much the same stuff in it with a few exceptions. There's these Tootsie Roll type things, mango flavors, sunflower seeds, trail mix, hot cocoa for meals at night or in the morning. We've got protein bars in there. And then I also have these caffeinated energy packets for lemonade, but, that boost of energy we all need. So each of us has one of those, plus these meat sticks, and also our breakfast, lunch, and dinner packed with us. So that's what snack time looks like. Well, now that snack time is over, we've kind of recharged our batteries. We need to find somewhere to hang our food for the night. Not that we're hanging it up yet, but it'd be good to know where it's going to be and what's on the other side of the mountain. Said a certain bear at one time. So here's the crest of the hill behind camp. Forest Service is doing some serious fire control. You'll see bundles of trees all cut up, ready to burn. There's camp down there. And we just need to find the right tree to hang our food in. So in the process of trying to find somewhere to hang the tree, we spotted something pretty significant over here. Check this out. Somebody built a small fortress over here, bushcraft style. Oh, a lot of cut up trees. Look at this. Somebody spent some time on this. Wow, look at that. Wonder how long that's been there.
Probably not long. There's still a shovel here.
Oh, look at that. I don't know if the Forest Service has been using this. Clearly, it's a regularly used campsite because there's nothing growing through the fire pit. Bundles of firewood. That is pretty cool. Yeah, this isn't too bushcrafty. They actually bolted these to the tree. Got some paracord holding it together. This feels pretty dusty, like it's been there a while. I mean, you know, when you rub it, it kind of corrodes a little bit. Yeah, this is pretty cool. You can see how they have wired and tied it and bolted it. Here's some more of the tarp over here. As long as we don't find any bodies. Pretty wild. This is the kind of thing you find when you go out exploring when you're camping. That's why I like to do it so much. Whenever I set up camp, I go out and take a walk around the perimeter and just see what else is out there, so that when nightfall comes, I'm familiar with my surroundings, even when it's dark. But I certainly didn't expect that. That's the first time I've found anything that significant. So right down there in the trees, right in the middle, right there is our Blair Witch house. And then over here, we have our contribution to making the woods creepy. That's gonna be our bear hang right here. What I did was I tied the line around a rock, threw it over the branch, and I've hooked the end here. So, you know, if you were walking through the woods and you just saw this randomly hanging here, it'd be like the Blair Witch when they keep finding all those weird little voodoo dolls. What does it mean? Well, it means no animals are getting into our food tonight. That is especially important on this outing because the boys and I went backpacking, how long ago? A couple weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Near home. I didn't make a video of it. We just went up to kind of make sure all the gear was there and just kind of do a little test run of backpacking season. It's not very far from our home and it's just easy to do. We were going to come up here, but I was so exhausted from a long work week that we went up there. We didn't see any wildlife the whole time we were up there during the day. And so I got complacent. And the one time I thought, just leave it on the table. It's also the one time I didn't bring my trail camera. So I have no footage of this, but I have witnesses. My sons were like, but what about animals? And I said, we haven't even seen any. Stupid, stupid, stupid. So we left everything on the table and we went to bed at about 11 p.m. About half hour after we went to bed, I heard pots and pans clanging. I heard cook pots being thrown around. And I yelled out to the boys' tents and I said, is that you guys? And they said, no. Was it you? No. So I get out of my tent and there's our snack bag with the hot cocoa in it and everything. On the ground, two metal cups that we had hot chocolate in were strewn on the ground. The bag was open and items were missing. Specifically granola bars. And we could see something moving through the brush. I had my 1200 lumen headlamp that I have with me tonight, and I shone it into the brush, but I couldn't tell what it was. So we took all the food, cleaned it up, put it in the sack and threw it up in the tree. So problem solved, right? About an hour later, we're just dozing off, and we hear more noise coming from the table. I was like, what the heck is that? At this point, I'm alarmed. My dog's not even barking, which was weird. I can't see what this critter is. So I got out of my tent with my bear spray. A bear hasn't been sighted in that area in decades, but you never know. Maybe I would be the lucky one. I shine my light, I'm looking around, and I spot this huge, fat raccoon. Bigger than Scraps, bigger than him. He's not big, but he's medium-sized dog. This thing was fat and slow and huge, and it stopped and it turned and looked at me, and I got him right in my lights, so I knew that's what it was. And then I realized we also left Scraps' dog food in his little bowl on the ground, and it had been knocked over. That's probably the smell that got them into camp. You know, we cleaned up more stuff, put it in the bag, pulled the bag down. This went on till 3 a.m. This thing kept coming back, and the last time it came back, there were several sets of eyes. So he had told his buddies that there was food to be had in our camp. We lost a couple of granola bars, and they even were smart enough to unzip part of my backpack where I kept the dog food in the Ziploc bag, and had pulled it out. They got to unzip just enough to pull it out and tear it open and get some of the dog food. So I got out of bed and I cleaned the entire thing up. I didn't leave anything out except my backpack itself, which was totally empty. I took the dog food out of it, everything. Such a rookie mistake. So stupid. Anyway, I'm telling you this so you can learn from it too. I got it all cleaned up, and the next thing we heard was one more sound, and it was the raccoons fighting over the little bits of kibble that were still on the ground from Scraps' dog dish. We didn't get much sleep that night because I was up at 7, so I finally fell asleep around 3. The noise quieted down, everything was cool, and I woke up at 7 a.m. so that we could have breakfast and hoof it out of there. That bag is definitely going up in the tree tonight, no question about it. Pretty soon the sun will be behind the trees, but there really is no mountain in our way that direction. So it's going to be a while till it actually gets dark. Sunset is usually around 9 p.m. at this time of year. It's getting closer to 6 p.m. right now, and so dinner will happen soon. You can see we've got our Mountain House meals out. We're just doing Mountain House for dinners while we're up here. Breakfast is, I'll talk about that when we get to it. And lunch is ramen noodles. So pretty basic, light stuff. And, you know, Mountain House is pretty traditional. It's not super exciting, but they're pretty good. I think people knock them too much. You in there, Jude? Jude's going to sleep, so we're just gonna hang out and wait for dinner to come. Absolutely beautiful.
If it wasn't bent, it would fit.
Mm-hmm. Well, we still have maybe 45 minutes till that sun goes down. Here's our source of firewood. This tree that the Forest Service cut down should do us nicely. Our whole camp is pretty green, not very dry. No trees above the fire pit, so it should be a pretty safe place to have a fire. And these bugs are starting to drive us nuts, so we do have bug spray. It just doesn't keep them from hovering, it just keeps them from biting. Anyway, we're gonna break off a bunch of this and turn it into a campfire.
There we go.
There we go. Good job.
Focus.
Well, as usual, not the best lighting in here, so I look kind of creepy, but hey, what's different than what happens in the daytime, right? I'm inside the tent, all settled in. The boys are in their tents. We stayed by the fire for quite a while until it just wouldn't burn anymore. Most of that wood was actually green. It wasn't as dead as it looked, but we made do, and the smoke helped clear out the bugs, so we had a good time. Had some hot chocolate, some protein bars, and just s'mores flavored protein bars. How's that for cheating? And now it's 10:30 p.m., probably closer to 11 by now, and we are just settling in to take a nice long sleep. It's been very peaceful, very quiet. Not a single person has come up this road since we got here, not on foot, not in cars, nothing. Every time I've been up here, I've always seen lots of people. So tomorrow's Friday though, so that'll change. And right now we're going to get some sleep, and we will see you in the morning. Good night. That's a coyote. Sounds like he's by himself. Well, good morning. Welcome to 8 a.m. Outside of that coyote last night, it was a pretty good night. Actually slept pretty deep. Tossed and turned some, but that's normal for sleeping on a sleep pad. Jude's still in his tent sleeping. Dylan's over there at the fire. There's no fire, but he's just hanging out. It's a beautiful morning. Last night, this is where the coyote was up on this ridge right here, that close to our camp. Surprisingly, scraps didn't go off on it, which was good because probably would have drawn it in further. But I could hear him as he got further away going off that way. I think he got up to the ridge and realized there were people here and was warning his buddies, but nobody answered him. He was all by himself, which is good. Dylan already got the bear bag down. I didn't show us hang it because it was too dark, and he got it down before he could film where it was and how it went, and it was fine. The rope is still over here. We do plan to do some hiking today. I'm not sure if we'll stay a second night or if we'll just do some exploring, leave camp where it is, and call it a day. I'm gonna poll the kids and ask them, because we have three options. We can do the original plan, pack up camp, backpack it up the road, follow a trail that I saw on a map that I have, set up camp somewhere else, spend another night. Dylan already said he's not too excited about repacking the backpacks. I've done multi-day trips before. He hasn't, and we brought a lot of luxury items like the chairs and the table. And, you know, those items add to your pack weight, and they're kind of a pain to put in, take out. If I was doing multi-day by myself, I wouldn't probably bring all that stuff. I would go as light as possible. So we're heavier than we normally would be. So that's one option. The other option is stay at this camp for another night and still go hike and explore up further and just hang out at camp again. That one's still pretty appealing to me. And the third one is just go hike up. Hiking is involved any way you look at it. There are thunderstorms expected today, and I can already see some up against that mountain. I don't know if you can see those. Kind of dark clouds over there. About a 40% chance of thunder and lightning up here. But the third option is go up there and hike a ways, come back, have lunch, and just head home. It's only Friday. There's no need to go home early. But one thing I've worked on as a parent lately is not being so helicopter-y. I'm not a helicopter parent. I don't hover over my kids and tell them every little thing to do, but as they've gotten older, I've tried to give them more of a say in what we do, what we don't do. What do you think? How do you feel about this, you know? It's kind of up to them what we do. With Dylan not wanting to pack up, I kind of feel the same way. I kind of feel like we have a good spot, a good campsite. It's peaceful out here. It's been quiet except for that coyote. We don't have any problems, and so I think it's down to probably those two options after I talk to Jude. Is we either go home today, later, after lunch, after hiking, whatever, or we stay another night in the same camp spot. There is a spot further up this trail where there's a body of water. That's the other issue. You'll notice that we brought gallon jugs of water. That seems insane, I know. We did this a couple weeks ago when we camped near our home. The reason that we brought gallon jugs of water is because we weren't hiking in very far. That's part one of it. It's easy to carry a gallon a mile up the road, 2 miles up the road, whatever. But the other reason is because there's no water source up here. If you look around further up the road, you encounter the river. It's quite a ways up the road. To walk all the way up there just to get water seems a little bit extreme because it's probably 2 miles. So that's the other issue. We only have the water we brought in. If there was a water source, we would have just brought water bottles. I don't use water bladders anymore. Had too many of them fail on me and get my gear all wet. I'll bring an empty one and fill it up with filtered water and hang it from a tree so we can use it sort of to clean dishes or wash our hands or whatever. But I didn't bring one this time. Anyway, that's it. That's the plan today. You can see it's an amazing morning. Lots of birds out. Here's our bear hang over here. Dylan left the rope in the tree. I promise we did hang our food. We didn't have any problems at all. Coyote may have even been up in here, I don't know, but I swear he was like right up here on this ridge. He was so loud. He went off for a good half hour and just slowly drifted off into the distance that way. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm pretty much figuring out where he was. So I'm gonna take this off. Dylan found this rope, this paracord, last year when we backpacked to Wall Lake. We found it in another campsite. We salvaged it. It was perfectly good and still tied up to a bunch of stuff in this empty campsite. And then another time that I was camping, I found this little hook. And you put the two together and it makes a perfect bear hang. So not the most exciting adventure so far. Just pretty much backpacking in and hanging out at camp. Sometimes those are the best outings, you know, where you just hike in a ways and relax. So I'm gonna go back to camp. Jude's probably gonna get up soon and we're gonna have breakfast. And we will figure out which of those 3 plans is going to be the one that we follow. So breakfast this morning is a combination of things. Dylan and Jude are having this freeze-dried yogurt granola thing that my buddy Kent at work made for me. I've had it for a while. They're having that. You pretty much just have to add water to it. It's already got the milk and yogurt in it. But Dylan's going to have it warm. He's going to make some warm cereal out of it. And I'm having something else from my buddy Kent. This is freeze-dried Captain Crunch berries. Just add water. And some hot chocolate to warm up and have something comforting and energizing. So, very simple breakfast, nothing spectacular. No mountain house this time. go. Want some? I could really eat these just by themselves like this. But I kind of want the milk. The whole cereal experience in the great outdoors. Thanks, Kent, for providing breakfast for us. He actually gave these to me months ago, and I'm just now getting around to using them. I have a lot of meals that he's put together for me that I'll be using this summer. Bottoms up.
I'm just gonna have it cold.
You're not gonna heat it up?
No, I'm just.
That looks like soup. Scraps wants some breakfast too. He has dog food, but every time I bring it, he doesn't touch it. So you can see his dish over there is upside down. We wanted to make sure we didn't leave any on the ground at all. And didn't want the scent getting out just from the bowl, so we turned it upside down. We didn't have any problems with animals except, you know, Mr. Noisemaker. Is it good? Dude, you gotta chew it. He's trying to swallow it whole. Well, Dylan's decided to eat his in brick form, and I think Jade's gonna do the same. This is soaking okay, it just takes a long time. It's getting softer and softer. I think you'll still like it, dude. Whoops, I'm making a mess. In the meantime, I'm gonna have some caramel and chocolate. And then I'm gonna have an energy boost from my caffeinated lemonade. It's a little bit cold. Sputtering a little. In case you're wondering, we do have a garbage. Every little bit has been going in here all the time we've been here. So. The nice thing about backpacking food is a lot of it, when it's empty, just compacts to almost nothing. You just take this home and throw it away. Goes in the tree with the bear bag. This is our caffeine source, just a Walmart brand caffeinated lemonade. What's that temperature say, Jude?
Where's it?
It's above your head.
$80.
80? It's because the sun's hitting it. It's not 80. It's more like 60, I think. Make yourself comfortable, Your Majesty. And dirt has unacceptable standards. He's gonna fix it. God, dog. He's just setting up for the night. What are you doing? This is caffeine. I need it. There you go. Good boy. You tell that earth how to be comfortable. Well, breakfast is done. Cups are rinsed out. Everything's cleaned up and put away. No food or garbage out anywhere. We are going to do an exploratory hike. We're actually going down familiar territory. A couple years ago. We hiked to the end of this trail where it kind of ends in a corral and then branches off onto different trails. And we hiked over this way to the river and camped right on the riverside. We made our own fire pit. I won't camp next to a river ever again because it was so loud all night. It drove me nuts. And the unanimous decision between Dylan and Jude, unanimous. I was willing to go with whatever. So here's the deal. These two have a camp out next week from Tuesday till Friday.
Yeah.
And it's up here in the Uintas. And it's not backpacking, but it's a 4-day camp out, 3 nights. And so they're not too excited about staying a second night. And I understand. So this is the camp out that we're doing this week, and we'll do a multi-day one later in the summer. I have some time off then too. So right now we're gonna hike up the trail, check out the river, and I also want to take a trail that goes another direction that leads to a body of water. Apparently I wanted to check that out. We are about halfway between the car and the end of the trail where it splits off, and you'll see what I mean when we get there. So let's get going. Mr. Dirt Lips here can't wait to go for a walk. He's been rolling in the dirt like you wouldn't believe. Ready, guys?
Yep.
So I don't know if I mentioned or not, but all of this fire control that the Forest Service is doing, cutting down these dead trees, it's happening all through the Uintas. And the reason why is there's an invasive beetle. Came from another country, I'm not sure which. I've even found them in my yard. And it's destroying these beautiful trees. It should look like this everywhere, but instead they have to go through and cut these down, because if they don't, we will have some serious forest fires on our hands. And the other thing is, they light them on fire. It's kind of a controlled burn, while leaving room for new growth and hopefully destroying any larvae from the beetles that have taken over. This was unheard of when I was a kid, and I would come up here. You'd see a dead tree once in a while, but not like this. It's all through here. Where I camped just last year, I'll put in some B-roll right here, but I camped in a site not too far from where we are now. By myself on Father's Day, and then later on the 4th of July I camped in the same spot with my buddy Joe, and I'll show you here how beautiful it was. I'll show you what it looks like now, because they've had to do this fire control thing. It's really sad to see it happen in just 1 year's time. Look at that. This was so beautiful through here just a couple years back, when the boys and I were up here together last time. That's what it looks like now. I hate to see this. We were just saying we remember this fence coming to it just before the hill And this area was all clean and clear, and there was a fire ring out in the middle. Jeez. Looks like we're coming up on some muggy water in the trail. He's thirsty, dude. Yeah.
Crap.
It's kind of flowing right here. He can drink that.
Yeah, crap.
Come here. Some drink. Yeah, look at this. It's just a huge puddle. There's a trail skirting it.
Yeah, let's
Right in the middle of the freaking trail. No.
This is a mosquito baiting area.
Those are water skeeters.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of mosquitoes here.
Yeah, that's true. I used to catch water skeeters when I was a kid and keep them in a bucket at my house. My mom hated it. Coming up on another pond in the trail. We should be nearing the end. There's the blue blaze.
Yeah.
I think.
You probably just go around.
You think this goes around? It looks like it goes around. It does. Yeah, continues over there. Dylan said there's no way around this one. God, we're almost there. People have been going over here. There's a little trail along here people have used. Yeah. Here's the other side of it. We can get over there. Moose tracks. It's a moose walking through the water. So this is the corral I was talking about. I've seen people camped here before. And we're very near the river. Ugh. This is a swamp over here. Go that way. This whole road here towards the end has been a little bit challenging. There's some signage pointing us a couple different directions. Let's see what it says. North Fork, Provo River Trail, that's the one we're on. Just keep going straight. And North Fork Ski Trail goes that way, and that's the one we're going to take because that goes right down to the river. And
Yeah.
Jude's getting really overheated. This is the way we came out from our campsite. But it's actually blazed, so it's a legitimate trail. This must be the ski trail. And this will take us right down to the river where we camped. I can see the river. You doing okay, buddy?
Yeah.
Ever since Jude was little, he's overheated easily. And I forget about that sometimes, so I kind of made a mistake here. And he got a little too hot, but the river's right here. We can cool off and refresh. It's right here, dude. We made it. Last year when we camped here, we camped over that way, right on the bank. And, or not last year, a couple of years ago. This river was so high we couldn't get across it because our plan was to continue following the blazes across the river. And they were just too little to cross it. So we camped over in there. We'll visit that spot in a second. Yeah, it wasn't very far. Here we are.
Not too bad.
We made it, Provo River. Get a drink, buddy. So right over here, the river is not nearly as raging as I feared it would be. A lot of the rivers right now in Utah are still dealing with spring runoff, and people have fallen in and lost their lives. So this is nice and shady. So we built a fire ring right here. You can kind of tell where it was. Out of these rocks here. They were playing in the river, and our fire was here. Our tent was over in here. We had all our stuff hanging up here. This was a pretty cool little spot, but
Too infested mosquitoes.
we removed the fire pit and threw the stones back in the water and covered it with debris, but you can see some of the ash has kind of made its way back through. So, look familiar?
Yep.
Let's cool off. So we've got some more water from the river, and we need to take it back and filter it because I'm an idiot and I forgot to filter. So Jude at least cooled off, even though he hasn't been able to drink anything. We're not that far from camp. Our bear bag when we camped here was over in here up on a tree, and we found bear poop right beneath it the next morning that I had no idea was there, or maybe it was the night before, but it was old bear poop, thank goodness. So lower Uintas, the bears really like the lower elevations, so you're not as likely to find them in the high elevations. They don't like the thinner air. There's less food up there for them, but down here is a little different. A little bit more awareness is needed to camp in the lower Uintas because you definitely could run into bear activity. Jude's kind of mad at me right now because I made him get wet, but he'll get over it. This has some good memories here. And as I remember when we stayed here last time, the bugs were prevalent. And as you can see by Jude swatting at things, they still are. He came on this too. That was one of his first overnight campouts.
I think it was his first.
It was the first overnight campout with Scraps. He's getting so much better at these overnighters. He's starting to really look forward to them, and he understands now at bedtime that it's time to go in the tent. Last night while we were sitting around the fire, he kept running over to one of the tents and looking at us like, is it time to go in yet? So it was kind of funny. By now you've seen a lot of B-roll of this. They grow up so fast. That river is beautiful. Now that I'm looking at this fire pit, I think it was here, but we weren't comfortable using it because of the proximity of the trees. You can tell by the rocks being so embedded in the ground, I'm pretty sure this was here. We just chose not to use it. I don't know. I won't know until I go back and review the footage from our camp out here. So from here, I was going to check out another body of water that's on the opposite side of the corral, up the trail a ways. There's a pretty substantial, I wouldn't call it a lake, maybe a pond I wanted to check out, but with how hot Julian gets, he really does overheat. When he was a little kid, I would take him on hikes and we'd have to stop and go back because his whole face would turn red. He just overheats super easy, right, buddy? I think our plan is just to hike back and hydrate and then call it a camp out. This is a fun hike. It was kind of sad to see what's happened to the trees though. Through here it's not so bad. I'm looking across the river and I don't see all that cutting and piling of dead trees over here. So if we go over here and look, there, see where the orange pole is? This is the ski trail. So skiers will come across right here, and those are there to show them the way if the snow's deep. Anyway, there are also some blue blazes over there on that tree. If I zoom in, you can see it. Right in the middle there, that has a blue blaze on it. But you can see over there, there's no chopping and cutting, and the trees look mostly healthy. So they're targeting those areas where it doesn't look good at all. It's sad to see it happen. Well, we are back. We made it back safe and sound. The boys are gonna hydrate. We're gonna filter that water. Should we have lunch before we leave?
Yeah.
Are you hungry? It is 11:46. We didn't meet every goal on this camp out. We didn't stay 2 nights. We didn't see the pond I wanted to see. Next time I'm gonna hike in further, maybe even by myself, I don't know, and check out the areas they were talking about and set up camp up in there. So this camp has been all about slightly altering plans along the way, and now we're just gonna chill, get some food in us. You guys ready to take a breather and then call it a trip and wrap everything up?
Yeah.
I'm not excited about the packing part. It's never my favorite. Scrap seems pretty content to be back at camp. Hey, Don't do that. That's gross. There's people watching. Well, that's it. We are all packed up. It's amazing what you can fit in 3 backpacks. That was a lot of gear. The only thing missing is Scrap's leash, and I am 100% sure that we accidentally packed it into one of our backpacks because it's bright blue and we would be able to see it. It's not in the trees, hanging on a branch or something. It's not over here where it was. This is where the tarp was. There's a stake over there, guys. We're kind of doing the final sweep here. Right there. So I'm absolutely positive we packed it because we would be able to see it. That thing almost glows in the dark. So that's it. That is the end of another adventure, and we're trying to outrace these thunderstorms that are moving in. So, do yourselves a favor. Get off the couch, get outside in nature, and have yourself an adventure. The views are spectacular. Take care, guys, and I will absolutely see you in the next adventure. Say bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.